How is it going, everyone? Today I'm here with my All Elite Wrestling Dynamite October 2nd, 2019 review. Of course, this was AEW's debut on TNT, a part of October 2nd's big historic night in wrestling. And overall, I gotta say, coming out of AEW's debut on TNT tonight, I gotta say, I thought it was a very solid show. I thought it flew right by. I thought it was good. Nothing blow away. You know, I kind of expected more for AEW's big debut, especially considering going against NXT, tonight. But, I thought it was a very solid opening show. There definitely is room for improvements. I feel like a lot of, the camera work wasn't the best. There would be random cuts to the crowd during a spot, or just the transitions to something else weren't the greatest. So it's definitely, things they need to work on. Of course, they'll obviously learn as they go. But for the in-ring work, I thought it was still good for the most part. I still, like I said, thought it was a good, solid debut show for AEW. Not trying to compare things, but if I did have to say, between Dynamite tonight or NXT tonight, which is a better show, I will say NXT was better, but, I'm not trying to compare. I'm not going to do, back and forth each week of what show is better. I'll just say, from my personal opinion, I thought NXT was a more enjoyable show, but both shows were enjoyable nonetheless. So all you can really ask for being a wrestling fan is for good wrestling, and I feel like we got that for both shows. So I'm not going to complain. But yeah, like I said, overall, I thought, AEW's debut on TNT with Dynamite was definitely a good start. Of course, the first match we had to open the show was Cody taking on Sammy Guevara. I thought this was a very good opening match here. The crowd was red hot for this match. The atmosphere was absolutely insane. You would have thought it was a main event match, honestly, with the way this crowd was reacting. But Cody was very dominant over Sammy Guevara, just working over him, throwing him around like he was honestly nothing, until Guevara got the upper hand when Cody sent him to the outside. Cody went for a dive, and then Guevara threw, Brandy into, or, kind of grabbed her and pulled her next to him, so Cody ended up hitting both of them. Cody hit, a springboard cutter, hit a disaster kick, which, Brandy assisted him because she distracted Sammy Guevara, which allowed Cody to hit the disaster kick. Sammy Guevara hit a Spanish fly from the top rope, which is pretty impressive. And then end up going for a shooting star press, which Cody got his knees up for an inside cradle for the 1-2-3. Cody defeats Sammy Guevara in the opening match of All Elite Wrestling Dynamite. Like I said, that was a very good opening match here. Both men look pretty good. And, Cody's one of those guys that, it's good to mesh him with the younger talent, because Cody's kind of untouchable. He can't really, go any lower. Or I'm not saying he's low, but he can't, him losing or him facing, younger guys isn't going to hurt him, especially if he loses. So he's kind of in an untouchable position. So I think him going against these younger talents like Sammy Guevara or a Darby Allin definitely is good for him, and definitely benefits everyone all around, especially the younger talent as well. So yeah, that was a, like I said, damn good opener between both of them. And then of course afterwards, Tony Schiavone tried to interview Cody. He got attacked by Jericho. Jericho beats the shit out of him for like 5 minutes, going to the commercial break, coming back from the commercial break, still beating the shit out of him. So obviously to build towards their match at Full Gear, but yeah, Jericho attacks Cody. Like I said, good opening match, and the post-segment attack was a typical attack, but it was good for what it was. And then we had MJF taking on Brandon Cutler. MJF comes out, cuts a typical heel promo because, I'm not saying MJF isn't entertaining or he can't talk, but I feel like his heel promo work, in terms of material he's given, or at least he does, is just basic heel stuff. Like, oh, I'm better than you, you're a loser. Oh, it's like, I don't know. Say something that impresses me, do something that stands out. I feel like he's just a very basic heel, even though it's entertaining. But the match really isn't even a match. It's just some back and forth. Brandon Cutler injures his arm. MJF takes advantage, ends up knocking him out, puts him into the salt of the earth, and wins via submission in like 2 minutes. So really wasn't a match, more of a squash, whatever. And then we had nothing but Jay and Silent Bob at ringside being interviewed by Chris Van Fleet, which was followed by Angelico and Jack Evans. They came out to interrupt that. So, and then Private Party came out, so obviously hyping up a match between. They had a match before, but obviously trying to get some tag teams on TV without having a match. So can't get mad at that. And then we had SCU cut a promo, which I thought was very good. And then they had not a backstage, but a interview on the ramp. Which, Lucha Brothers came out and they had a huge brawl, which of course leading to their match. I think is it next week or the week after that? I'm not sure, but SCU versus Lucha Brothers. Actually, I don't even think they're having a match. I think the only way they can have a match is if they go into the finals, because I think SCU's taking on Best Friends and Lucha Bros are taking on Jurassic Express. So yeah, they're not even facing each other, but I guess it's a hint towards the finals, but which I don't want it to be the finals, since we've already seen this match at Fight for the Fallen, I believe it was. But it was a good brawl. It was what it was. And then we go to Hangman Adam Page taking on Pac. Yes, he's now Pac instead of Pac, which why I don't know. I think Pac was a better pronunciation of the name, but he's Pac now. And these two right from the get-go jump into the action. These two are just beating the shit out of each other. Very fast pace, which is great, especially considering how fast Pac is. Which he was absolutely awesome this match. He had a beautiful springboard 450. He had this fantastic missile drop kick in the corner to Adam Page, which was just, man, it looked like he fucking killed Page with that drop kick. I thought it was very impressive from him. Page, hit the buckshot lariat, tried to hit the Deadeye, but was unsuccessful. Went for the lariat one more time, but Pac was able to avoid it. Ended up doing a low blow, which was followed by the Red Arrow and the Brutalizer for the submission victory, because the referee Earl had to ring the bell because Adam Page passed out. So Pac, I got used to calling him Pac now. Defeats Adam Page via submission. Very good match here. I thought this match honestly was the best match on the show. All these two had a really fast-paced, physical match back and forth. Not really too sure about the Adam Page losing twice in a row, but Pac definitely someone that I think is one of the more interesting factors in AEW right now, and I absolutely love his work, and hopefully he's a future AEW World Champion sooner rather than later. But Pac versus Hangman Page, the match we're supposed to see back at Double or Nothing, definitely was worth the wait, and I thought it was a great TV match. So yeah, no complaints from me about that one. And then of course we go to the crowning of the inaugural AEW Women's World Champion between Nyla Rose and Riho. This match was decent. The final few minutes were pretty fun. I will admit that they picked up the pace really well. But there were some noticeable botches from Nyla. She locked in an STF. Riho, did a crossbar on the outside, which Nyla caught her, but then Nyla kind of just dumped her on her knee, which kind of was lame. They built it up like something big was going to happen, but she didn't do anything at all. And then back in the ring, she ended up picking a DVD for a near fall. Riho got a great near fall on Nyla where she kicked out at 2.9, and Riho did the same thing. So there were some great near falls towards the end of the match, and the pace picked up. They got pretty exciting. The crowd was really invested into it, and Riho ended up getting the victory on Nyla Rose, but then Nyla kicked out at 3. She had the Hogan kick out at 3, which I absolutely hate because, I don't know, it makes whoever loses look more stupid than, it doesn't protect them. It just makes them look stupid kicking out at 3. It's like, why didn't you just kick out a second earlier? I know the whole thing's just like, oh, they didn't have enough energy to kick out a second before, but I don't know. I just think it always comes off stupid when they kick out at 3. I don't know. I've never been a fan of it. But, yeah, Riho is the first ever AEW Women's World Champion, which I do agree with. I don't think Nyla Rose should have been the first Women's World Champion. I think Riho winning it definitely was a smarter decision. I think, she's very good, too. And I think she can deliver with some pretty good title defenses in the future. So Riho winning it, even though I was surprised because I thought Riho was only signed for like a 5-show deal with AEW. Obviously it might have been extended, but I think the original deal was only like a 5-show thing with her. So to see her, stick around and be the first AEW Women's World Champion is definitely a positive. I'm definitely looking forward to her in the future as well. So, and by the way, Britt Baker was on commentary for this match, which I didn't really pay attention to be perfectly honest. So I didn't really hear what she had to say. But yeah, it was a fine match. And then after the match, of course, Michael Nakazawa came out to introduce her, and then Nyla Rose attacked both of them, which led to Kenny Omega come running out to protect Riho. So I don't know if that's going to lead to anything in the future, but yeah, that happened afterwards, which led into our main event, which was a 6-man tag team match. Of course, the Elite taking on Chris Jericho, Ortiz, and Santana. I gotta say, this was a very good main event as well. Kind of 6-man mayhem from the very beginning. Omega's on a hot streak, going for the rise of Terminator, but then out of nowhere, Jon Moxley appears behind Kenny Omega. They start brawling, which apparently is not a disqualification, so whatever. They brawl into the crowd, brawl into like a VIP area where Moxley hits a Death Rider through a glass table. Fucking insane. That was one of my favorite spots of the year. Not just from AEW, but in wrestling. I thought that was an awesome spot. The way it happened, the way it was filmed too, was just, I don't know, everything about it I absolutely loved about it. So that was a great spot, which led for the Bucks to defend by themselves. It was mainly the Young Bucks taking on Ortiz and Santana. I'm not very familiar with them. I know they had a huge run at LAX. I haven't watched Impact in years, so I'm not really familiar with them. One of them had a great selling. His facial expressions were absolutely insane. Might have been Ortiz. I'm not really too sure who's who, to be perfectly honest. Like I said, I'm not really too familiar with LAX, with Ortiz and Santana. I'm more familiar with, Hernandez and Homicide as LAX. But, yeah, it was a very good tag team match between both of them. Then Jericho got in towards the end, and they kind of just eviscerated the Young Bucks after Nick Jackson had his hot tag. They pretty much killed Nick. Matt, I should say. Nick got taken out with a he went for a crossbody, I believe, but Jericho caught him midair for a code breaker, and then they kind of just picked apart Matt, which led to Jericho hitting a Judas effect on Matt for the 1-2-3. So they defeat the Elite, and then afterwards is a huge beatdown. They're beating down the Elite. Cody comes out to attack Jericho, which leads to Sammy Guevara coming out to help, and then Dustin Rhodes comes out, and then out of nowhere, Jake Hager, formerly known as Jack Swagger, comes out, hits a gut-wrench powerbomb onto Goldust onto a table. So Jake Hager is all Elite, which I don't really care for because Jack Swagger's been irrelevant for years, and I don't know if he's a big signing for them. I'm not saying he won't, amount to anything, but as a big surprise, he's definitely a big letdown if you ask me. But yeah, that was the way they closed the show, and it looks like Jericho, LAX, Hager, and Guevara might be a faction, or maybe they're just beating down the Elite. I don't know. It might lead to something, maybe a big 10-man tag at some point on TV with Cody, Dustin, the Bucks, and Kenny. I don't know, but it definitely makes me want to see what happens with it. I am kind of interested in it, but I hope it's not a group. I hope it's just a beatdown thing, because I don't want to see a group with all 5 of them. But yeah, that was the way AEW went off the air for Dynamite tonight on TNT. Like I said, overall, I thought it was a very solid show. I thought it was good. Nothing was blow away. There really wasn't anything must-see on the show by any means. Nothing that really captures the eye really as well. There really wasn't that one thing that really caught my attention on it. But for a debut episode, I thought it was, I thought they did a very good job. Like I said, obviously there's things they need to work on, but obviously over time they will improve and fix those issues. So I'm not worried about those as right now. But yeah, good solid episode of Dynamite to start their TNT run. I'm looking forward to seeing AEW running weekly as well as their pay-per-views. So I'm all Elite. I'm invested in AEW in terms of what I'll be watching weekly over. I would say I'd probably watch NXT first over Dynamite, just because I feel like I'm more invested into that product and what they're putting out right now over AEW. But over time, who knows? Maybe AEW will become more a priority over NXT for me. But as of right now, like I said, I'm more of I'll be watching NXT before AEW first, but I'll definitely be watching both. I definitely I'm interested in both. Definitely want to see what's going on with both products. But yeah, as of right now, like I said, I'm more invested in NXT. But yeah, AEW Dynamite, like I said, good debut episode. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, please feel free to leave a like below. And of course, next time, I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for watching the video.